Next question has to do a little bit with the fact that judges for state courts have to run for election. And when you do that, you do have to make political connections. And people have connections in the community. So under what circumstances would you envision finding it necessary to recuse yourself from a case? And any comments you might like to make on the idea of electing versus merit selection of judges? Judge Malagran, I'm sorry, you're first.
First of all, as to the recusal issue, when I was sworn in, took an oath to preside over cases in a fair and impartial manner. Now, the standard for recusal isn't about what I think, because I truly believe I can decide any case in a fair and impartial manner. The standard, the legal standard of a recusal, is whether a significant minority of the lay community could perceive an appearance of impropriety in the matter in which you're presiding over. That is the standard. So as a judge, you have to take a step back and get your personal feelings, remove your personal feelings from that, and try to look at it from the perspective of the lay community who aren't all that familiar with the judicial system at times, and determine whether or not the situation as it exists in front of you that very moment, if they could view some sort of appearance of impropriety. And then you make your decision. That can come up in a number of different ways, I would imagine. But you look at it on a case-by-case basis. And it's not an easy decision to make because we only have 6 judges in our courthouse. And the last thing any judge in that courthouse wants to do is to give another judge additional work, because you like to clean up what's on your plate. And so do I. But there have been matters in which I had to recuse from because I felt that the public could potentially perceive that as some sort of appearance of impropriety. And I certainly didn't want that to happen. And now as to the merit selection versus election process, I'm proud of the fact that I was the one selected for this position. Don't get me wrong. However, I still think it should be open to an election process so that people can truly pick who they feel is the most qualified candidate. Thank you.
I also agree that if you feel you cannot be impartial, there's not too much more you can say about that. Or if in your mind it appears to be an improper case for you to handle or to be in front of you. The Supreme Court also gives us guidance on what kind of cases should not be heard by a judge. And one of those cases is that if you have a opponent in an election, and it's the case of Howard Fink, what a name. It went in front of the Supreme Court. And if there's someone who's running against you in an election that comes before you, you should not hear that case. And I brought that case up to a present sitting judge. And I don't know whatever happened to my petition. That was 5 months ago. I've never received it returned. Merit selection, I do not believe in merit selection, because if you have merit selection, it'll be the powerful political players, the powerful personage in this community that has connections all the way up to the governor that will get someone appointed when everybody else was told there will be no appointment. There is no money to appoint a judge. Don't bother applying.
I'll be probably the first to say, at least I think among the candidates tonight, politics has absolutely no place in the courtroom, has no place at the courthouse. when I've been out talking to people, one of the things I've said on numerous occasions is, with me, politics stops at the bottom step of the Washington County Courthouse. I would have to say, absolutely, if someone who contributed to my campaign, I would recuse myself. And that can be difficult for some judges to swallow, because unfortunately it does push cases off to other judges. But we have a greater responsibility to the integrity of our profession and to the system. As a lawyer, you're held to a certain standard with respect to conflicts of interest. As a judge, you're held to an even higher standard. A judge must avoid the appearance of any impropriety. Now, we do have adequate controls in place with the reporting in Pennsylvania and in all states of political contributions. That's all available online, actually. And you can see who contributes to our campaigns. But I don't think that's enough. So my position would be, if someone contributed to my campaign, I would recuse myself, because I don't want the public to ever think that any decision that I would make would ever be influenced by the check that someone wrote to me during a campaign. As far as the debate whether we elect judges or we appoint judges, I believe Pennsylvania is only one of 5 states that still elect judges in the United States. There are pros and cons either way. I think recent events would suggest that there are flaws with the appointment process. Perhaps a non-political commission who would be responsible, even on a local level, for appointing judges should be considered.
I think the integrity of the court is what is at heart here and is the most important thing to uphold. There should be absolutely no reason for a judge to hear a case if he or she cannot be absolutely objective about the issue before him or her. Further, that judge should recuse himself or herself if there is any appearance that if he or she were to rule on his case would be an appearance of impropriety. I think the judiciary has a unique place in American government. It should hold itself to higher standards than the other 3 branches. And if a judge is unable to ensure that he or she can be absolutely objective and avoid the appearance of any impropriety, then he or she must recuse himself or herself. With respect to whether judges should be elected or selected, I believe that the best process for the Court of Common Pleas level is an election. I think this way that the voters get to truly meet and feel and touch the person who is running for office. The county is still a small enough place, unlike, we'll say, statewide, so that he or she can get around to most communities and the persons who will be voting for them can get to meet them. I also think that the recent selection by appointment has been a clouded process, and I think that the way things stand today, if there is going to be a selection process, it should be certainly modified by having some type of merit selection committee such that there are some checks and balances before somebody is either chosen by the governor and then forwarded to the Senate for selection.